I'm going to show you how to graph, but not only graph, but also be able to identify what the asymptotes are. OK? So the first important thing, guys, whenever we're graphing, I think the easiest thing to do is identify the center. So we know the center is going to be hk. If you guys look at your formulas, you can see that h here is that 3 and the k. But remember, it's always opposite, right? It's x minus h, x minus k. So therefore, my center is -3, 1. Does everybody understand and follow me why it's -3 and 1? That always got people confused from the get-go. The next thing is I want to identify my a, b, and c. So a squared we see is 16. And b squared is 4. Because remember, it's always a squared minus b squared. A squared minus b squared. So therefore, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So c squared is equal to the square root of 20, which you could also simplify. But we'll just leave that as 2 square root of 5. But you could think of that also as a decimal, which would be 4 point something. All right, so now we've identified the center, A and B. The next major thing we need to do is determine, is the transverse axis horizontal or is it vertical? So we need to identify, how do we go ahead and do that, Lyle? How do we know what it is?
Oh, by which one comes first?
Yeah, by X.
OK, what do you mean? The A, the B, the X, the Y?
X and Y's.
OK, and remember, if the X is over the A, it's a horizontal major axis if it's an ellipse, or it's a horizontal transverse axis if it's a hyperbola. Whenever the A is over, or the Y is over the A, it's vertical. All right? So again, this is going to be a horizontal transverse axis. And if I was in high school, just like I was with you guys, I'd probably make a lot of little mistakes. So what I like to do is write down that on my sheet of paper, so therefore I just don't forget. So now let's go and plot the information, because it did ask us to sketch. So my center is at -3, 1, 2, 3, +1. And I label that center. I know my transverse axis is horizontal, so I'm just going to do a nice horizontal line going through it. Transverse axis. Now, again, what's so nice about knowing the transverse axis is that's where the foci as well as the vertices lie. So if a squared is 16, that means a is equal to 4, b is equal to 2, right? And c we know is there. So a is equal to 4. So therefore, my vertices are going to be going left and right, because they have to lie on the transverse axis. So all I got to do is just go over 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you go left 4 and right 4. There you go. Make it a little better. Is everybody OK? Now the foci is going to be 2 square root of 5, which is approximately, what's the square root of 20? Approximately, it's going to be like, let's just say 4.6. I don't know what it is. But it's between 4 and 5. Everybody agrees? So I'll just go from the center. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and almost a 5, but not there. Focus. OK? So now I kind of have a good idea of what the graph looks like. However, we should go ahead and graph the asymptotes. So the best way to graph the asymptotes is to create a box with the vertices and with the covertice, which is b is 2. But remember, the covertices lie on the transverse the conjugate axis, which is up 2, down 2. So these are my 2 covertices. So what I'll do is I'll just create a nice little box. Covertices is b. The distance from your center to your covertices is b. And we already knew b from 4. Then from there, to create, remember your asymptotes cross at your center. And then my parabola, again, remember, approaches your asymptotes. So it should look something like that. OK? However, what I wanted to add into you guys, and again, is it pretty easy? Once you guys graph it, it's pretty easy to like find the vertices, right? If you know what the center is, just move over 4, correct? Does that kind of make visual sense to find the vertices in the foci? So graphing it can help you find that information. But remember that the equation of the asymptotes, because this might be a question, so that's why I'm showing it, even though it wasn't on your homework. We said that the equation of the asymptote is plus or minus b over a. But that was when the center was at 0, 0. So what I didn't go over on your homework was what about when, or on the notes, was what about when the center's at hk? Well, we have a different equation. Y equals opposite, or plus or minus, opposite of b times x minus h plus k. So I just wanted to do the math for you guys real quick so you guys can kind of see. All you do is plug in b, a, and h and k. So y equals plus or minus b, which is 2, over 4 times x plus 3 plus 1. Does everybody see what I did? Well, I don't know. On a test, they might leave it like this, or they might want it in or they might have it in slope-intercept form. So let's just practice putting this in slope-intercept form. To do that, I would do the plus and the minus. So y equals 2/4 is the same thing as 1/2 times x plus 3 plus 1. And then y equals negative 1/2 times x plus 3 plus 1. Right? And then to add 1 to those fractions, you'd have to rewrite those as, what would be a good fraction to rewrite 1 as? How about 2 over 2? Does everybody understand how I rewrote 1 as 2 over 2 and why I did that? So now I can add the fractions and make it easy. So y equals 1/2 x plus 5/2, which is 2.5. No, shoot. What did I do wrong? That is x plus 3. I did this exact same mistake last time. No, that's right. OK, this problem's right. OK. And then this one would be y equals negative 1/2 x. And this would be minus 1/2. And does that kind of work? Think about this. The 5/2 the same thing as 2.5. Look at this. 1, 2. Does that look like it crosses just about 2.5? Right? And it's a positive slope. Right? So does that look like it matches? So I don't know. These might be answers on a test. So you guys should at least know that. You didn't have to do that for this problem. I just wanted, that's kind of your, I guess if you want to include teaching of today, that would be a part of it.